Austin real estate, did it sink or swim in December? So for the past few months, we have seen interest rates kind of go up and down. And typically, interest rates do have an impact on what the sales are in Austin, Texas. So without further ado, we are going to talk about December. We're going to talk about the month over months. We're going to compare December of 25 to November of 25. Then we're also going to dive in and we're going to compare where did that end up as far as last year. Where did we end up in December 25 compared to December 24 year over year? And where are we kind of looking ahead? So especially if you are paying attention to this market with interest rates, we're right below that 6.1 right now. We're hovering right above 5. Is it the right time to buy? Well, let's talk a little bit about the market. So if you're just joining me, my name is Danielle Fountain. I'm the founder of the One Realty here in Austin, Texas, where we take a data-driven, all-in-one approach to real estate for both our buyers and our sellers. And we are going to hop right into, so every week I track numbers and data on the Austin market, but at the same time, I'm also tracking where are historical trends, where are we looking in Austin. So first and foremost, what we're going to do is we're going to dive right into where our closed data is. So our closed data in December. Now, December's data is every year. It's not going to get finalized until probably February. People are bad at inputting it right away. When I say people, I mean agents and builders inputting their final sale. So these numbers will go up as far as the closed data, like what the final number was. As far as price point, we might fluctuate a little bit. If it's anything dramatic, I'll probably do a little update. But this is where you can kind of see a general where we are. We're talking single family homes in Austin, Texas. So first and foremost, we sold 718 homes or that have closed thus far and been recorded. Now, that's kind of, as far as 718, what's kind of great about that number? Well, we beat last year at 668. And at the same time, we beat November, so month over month, which was at 587. So you can see that 587 number right here. What we are looking at is our closed data, that 718 in December 25. In December 24, it was 668. So yes, we closed like 7.5% more houses. If we look at our historical data, so if we look at historical data, I'm putting it over here, but we'll talk about it. If we look at where we were historically, so historically we were averaging 876 homes we're closing, the median 876 and 886. With that being said, we're about 18% shy of where we are historically for sales. And this is all the way back to 2005 when I was able to grab data before it started to disappear. Now, with that being said, 18% seems like a huge off. This is the first month in all of 2025. So December was the first month in all of 2025 where our 25 sales compared to the historical average was under 20%. Everything else, all the previous months were well into we're talking anywhere from 24% to 1 month, we were 37% under the historical average in July. We were 37% under the historical average for July. Kind of put that in perspective. So even though our numbers are not huge in December, historically compared to all the other months that we had this past year in 2025, December actually did the best in regards to the quantity sold. Now, if we dive into the numbers of sales, our average sales price for year over year, it went down. The average went down by 3,000. The median went down by 25,000. So you could say that our average sales price is about 0.5% lower. Our median is about a little over 4% lower. I talked about this way early on. I thought this was going to happen back in the springtime. I could kind of see the writing on the wall when we had numerous price reductions that we were headed this way. The only thing that probably saved us is when interest rates fell, we saw some more activity, which meant that there were more buyers coming to the market, and that creates even a tiny surge of demand, helps sellers as far as their price point. Now, with that being said, nothing major as far as days on market. Very similar to last year, we were looking at a little under 2 months for the median, a little over 2 months, so 2.5 months for your average is kind of what the houses that we're selling. Not saying what houses are still on the market, because those are significantly higher. When it comes to our closed price to list price, closed price to list price and closed price to original list price, this kind of tells two stories. One, how eager are buyers meaning are bidding over? And that was the case when we were in the pandemic, COVID times, when houses were just flying off the shelves. Or two, how desperate are the sellers? Meaning, do they really have to move? Are people headed to foreclosure? Are people having to move because of jobs? How much are they going to drop down their price? Or was the house overpriced to begin with? So with that being said, the only thing that was green, if we looked at year over year, the only thing that was green was our closed price to list price. The average was up. It was negligible, like 0.16%. So nothing insane, nothing crazy. Now, with that being said, our closed price to original list price, our median fell by 2%. So that's a pretty drop. So instead of last year, we're closing out at 94% of closed price to original list price. This year, we were at 92%, which means that sellers were just eager to get their houses, to get them sold. And I saw that across the board, that we saw sellers having to substantially drop their price. This is also in tune because when I was tracking data weekly, I could all of a sudden saw that we saw an increase in the number of houses with price reductions. It happened early on. We were hitting 60% around, like, I think it was April, March, we started to see it, but May timeframe especially, we were up significantly, dropping prices across the board in Austin to get houses to move, which kind of shows, because if we talk about the number of houses that sold in Austin and we say, hey, December was 718 and we expect it to go up a little bit more, let me show you an interesting stat. So if we hop over to yearly, this is where you're going to see. So I keep track of all of our yearly sales, but if we look at 2025, so far we've closed 718 right here in December, and it's going to go up. But so that's why I say September we're going to beat, meaning we had a better month as far as the number of sales in December than we had January, February, March, September, October, and November. That's insane that is December. I mean, typically December actually does have a better month actually than November. So November in the past like 21 years, November has only beat out December like 3 or 4 times. And that's probably because people are looking at end of year, they're trying to get sales, or they're moving family because of the school years and cyclical times as far as the calendar year. That's where you're gonna see a little bit more. But to beat out all of these months, that says a lot. And you can see really January, February, March were real rough. And actually, historically, the worst month as far as the number of sales, all the way back to 2025, we're looking March and then also April. Like, we were very close to right here. You can see the low in this sense, 2005, that we were so close to our lowest that we've ever had in those months. So with that being said, if we look up, so year over year is going to be the same as our year to date, because it's comparing December to December. But if you look at month over month, that's where we see, hey, month over month, we had a 22% increase in the number of sales, which we're seeing. We did see prices actually go up in December compared to November. So this puts the caveat in your mind of, hey, if you're looking to get a really good deal, putting offers in houses in October, November is looking, as far as like the percentage wise, kind of you getting a good deal now with the number of houses that are on the market. That being said, our closed price to list price right here, we were even lower in December. So it's like a November, December timeframe is a great time to get a deal. Now, as far as listing your house, it's going to be very, very independent of where you are. If you are in an area where maybe there's not a lot of supply, and we found that for one of our clients, we listed their house the first week in December because I pulled up data and I was like, there's not even 2 months of supply. Things are moving quickly in your area. We had an offer at asking price the very first week on the market. And it was higher than, it was a good, we strategically priced their house and they sold it immediately. So with that being said, this is general Austin data. If you really want to drill down into what part of Austin that you're looking at and where you live, that's gonna change things. That's going to each little area has I say a different demand and also different supply. So if you're looking for a specific area, feel free to reach out to DM me. You can reach me on email too at Danielle@theonerealty.com, or you can find me You can find me on X, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on LinkedIn. If you look up at The One Realty and you look for Danielle Fountain, you will find me, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions about your specific area. What we are seeing so far is we're seeing more listings on the market in 2026 than we saw in 2025 for December. We're seeing prices are down about 7% already in regards to what the average list price is. So I'm expecting to see over the next couple of weeks, if these lower interest rates is going to spur any demand, we should be able to track it in the next 2 weeks. So yes, we saw increased buys. We saw that in December. We looked better than the majority of the year as far as we beat more months and sold more houses in December, which is an indicator of those lower interest rates that we saw come on in November. So with that, I'm Danielle Murray from The One Realty here in Austin, Texas, helping buyers sell, and I say buyers and sellers sell. But with that, I hope you have a wonderful day.